Hello everyone, welcome back to A for Analysis. Today we are at day 22 of the series SQL50. Today's problem statement is gameplay analysis. So we have a table named activity which has columns as player ID, device ID, event date and games played. So player ID and event date pair is primary key combination of columns with unique values of this table. And this table shows the activity of players of some games. And each row is a record of a player who logged in and played a number of games before logging out on some day using some device. Now coming to the problem that we have to write a solution to. Write a solution to report the fraction of players that logged in again on the day after they first logged in. Round it to two decimal places. In other words, you need to determine the number of players who logged in on the day immediately following the initial login and divide it by the number of total players. So there are two things which we need to look at. First of all, for every player, when they logged in for the first time, which is the first login, and then we also have to look at the second login. And when the second login is the immediate next day of first login, that is the fraction we want out of the total number of players. So now we will look at the solution. So the solution is quite simple. First, we are extracting the first login. So we are just creating small CTs, which will make our query much simpler to understand. So first here, we select the player ID and minimum event date. This is of course our first login. So now we have that. And for all of the players who logged in for the first time, we need to find their second logins. But not any second login. It has to be on the immediate next day. So this is how we will do this. We are selecting all the player IDs from first login and we are doing an inner join with the activity, which is the actual table itself. The joining conditions are player ID. So we are only going to look at the people who have logged in for the first time. So they are present in the first login table. And it should also match this condition, which is date add. Date add is the interesting keyword which is used to find the next day. So date add will give me the next day from the given date. So first login and interval 1 day. A is the activity table. So when from this table's event date, we are able to match the first login's time, then the second condition is met. So the first condition is they have logged in for the first time. This is where we are getting that. And the second login is where for all the players who has already logged in for the first time, we are matching all those player IDs and we are looking up the next date of from their first login. So when the immediate next day after their first login is matching with this event date, this means this will be their second login. So now that we have both, what we have to do, our ultimate result has to be the fraction of all the people who logged in for the second time on the immediate next day out of all the people, all the players, all the distinct players from the first login. So there is another obvious thing. if someone has not logged in at all, that person will not have the first login itself. So instead of taking just any player, we are going to take login. This is important in case the activity table has any none values where there is just a player but no login time. Although this is not the case in this table, but uh, just for our understanding, when there exists a first login, in that case, we can calculate this fraction. That's why instead of taking the original activity table, it is better to stick with the first login for getting the total number of players. So this is our second login, which is on the immediate next day. And these are all the players who logged in for the first time. This is how we get the fraction, and we are just rounding it up to 2 decimal points. And that's the solution. See you in the next one.